Greetings to everybody. I hope you're all doing good today. Now, in today's video, I want to discuss whether the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, whether he tortured somebody as anti-Islamics often allege. And they claim that he tortured a man named Kinanah, who was a Jewish man, and essentially the Prophet Muhammad tortured him to extract information as to the whereabouts of some treasure, because this guy held the treasure of his tribe and the Prophet Muhammad wanted that treasure, so he tortured that guy to find out where the treasure is. And this incident is recorded in Ibn Ishaq's biography of the Prophet Muhammad. So anti-Islamics will quote this story, quote this incident, and try to use it against Muslims and say, look at this, your Prophet tortured somebody. How is that possible? You know, that's evil. Now, before I respond to this argument and explain what actually happened, explain the incident, my first initial response to this is, so what? Okay, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tortured somebody. He tortured them. And what's wrong with that? And the reason I say that, there's a reason why I say that. The reason I say that is because over the past decade, torture has become something widely practiced and something very normal for Western democratic civilized governments. I mean, America, good old USA, the home of the free and the land of the brave, the #1 country for democracy and freedom, is well known to have tortured several people over the past decade. Systematic, program, ordered torture from the highest levels of government. And this is a known fact. You can go research the documents. I mean, it's all out. It's all out. We know for a fact that America tortured a lot of the people it used to arrest and capture. I mean, we all know about Abu Ghraib. You know about Abu Ghraib, what happened in Iraq. And you remember the pictures the media used to post, those pictures, and the media reports of what happened? Well, that was only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, they didn't tell you the real ugly details of what happened in that prison, which you can go find about because one of the main generals wrote about it. They were literally raping teenage boys. They raped women. They sodomized men. They tortured people to death. I mean, it's vicious stuff as to what they did in Abu Ghraib, and many of these details were left out by the media. And what was happening in Abu Ghraib was only the tip of the iceberg. This was happening all over Iraq at the hands of American troops, which was being ordered by the men at the higher ranks, and they've never been arrested. They've gotten away with it. The lower guys have been arrested, only a few of them, but the people who ordered it, sanctioned it, they got away. They're living their lives freely and happily right now, while their victims have to have the memories and the scars. And this is happening in Afghanistan. Everybody knows about it. In fact, there's another thing called rendition. You know what rendition is. It's an act where intelligent officers of the CIA or other governments will simply kidnap you, whether you're in your house, whether you're in the airport. You know, they'll kidnap you wherever you are. They'll ship you off to some country where you don't even know. They'll take you to some secret prison around the world where you will be tortured on their orders. And by the way, Obama, the nice, peaceful guy, has continued this program. And this is only America. We know many other European governments knew about this, and some of them took part in it. They helped out. And torture hasn't just been something normal for Western governments in the past 10 years. Torture has been a systematic tool used by Western democratic governments for the past century. And everybody can go find out about it. So what if the Prophet Muhammad tortured? You see, this is what I love. This is the hypocrisy. Before you want to point your fingers at the Prophet Muhammad, a man who lived 1400 years ago, why don't you go clean your own backyard, where your governments are torturing people as we speak right now? Why don't you go fix that up? You know why? Because, as I said, hypocrisy. So don't point fingers at others when what you're complaining about can be brought back to you even 10 times worse. I mean, all you have is the Prophet Muhammad torturing one person when your governments have tortured thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people maybe. I mean, what can you say? But nonetheless, did the Prophet Muhammad actually torture somebody? That's what we need to get. Now, if you read the incident in Ibn Ishaq's book, I want you to do something for me. Go read the book if you have it. And I know many anti-Islamics don't even have the book. They're what I like to call copy and paste people. They go to an anti-Islamic website, they read something and they just paste it. They don't bother to do the research. But I have the book. And if you have the book, I want you to turn to the page where this incident is recorded. And I'll post the page at the bottom of this link. Go to the page where the story is recorded by Ibn Ishaq. Now you'll find something very, very interesting. And you know what that is? Ibn Ishaq doesn't even give a source for this story. In other words, we don't even know where this story came from. Ibn Ishaq reports this story, but he doesn't tell us from who he got it, from where he got it. He doesn't tell us anything. He just reports it. So essentially, ladies and gentlemen, there is not a single source or verification for this incident. Wow! How many of you Islamophobic critics who use this argument, how many of you even knew that? We don't even know from where Ibn Ishaq got this story from. You know what honest people do with such a story? They throw it out. If somebody comes to you and tells you something and he doesn't have a source, he doesn't tell you from where he got it from, he's just telling you this, telling you something big, and you ask him, yeah, that sounds interesting, from where did you get it? And he doesn't tell you any secondary information, he doesn't give you the source, you throw that information out. So there is no source for this incident. We don't know who reported it. We don't know who gave the story to Ibn Ishaq. We don't even know from where it came. We don't know nothing about it. I mean, that's the equivalent of turning the news on and listening to a reporter talking about the news, but he doesn't even tell you the sources. He's just reporting it with no sources at all. No any evidence, no secondary evidence, no secondary documents, no secondary nothing. Just by himself. Oh yeah, in today's news, Obama got into a fist fight with another politician. Wow, that sounds interesting. You have any source, any inside contact? No. Where did you get that story from? Oh, well, I don't know. And Ibn Ishaq lived around 200 years after the Prophet. He's a historian. So that makes it even more vital to tell us from where he got the story from. That makes it even more vital to tell us the source. But he doesn't. So therefore, this incident is thrown out the window. In other words, you have no case. If you brought this to a judge, he would throw it out. Now, I know many Islamophobic critics won't be satisfied because they're just not honest. They're dishonest. But you know what? Who cares? They still have no argument, and their governments torture people as we speak. Go fix that.